Maybe we should have a listen to this album now. Am I allowed to say that?
Seen it once, don't remember when. Think it's time to watch it again. Follow, subscribe, stay up to date. Episodes drop the last Friday. It's a Matt, forgot that. It's a Matt, forgot that. It's a Matt, forgot that podcast.
Welcome to the Matt Forgot That podcast, the place to recollect and reminisce. I'm your host, Matt Seroski, filmmaker, film fan. Each episode, I'm going to rewatch and review a movie or TV pilot that I've seen before but don't quite remember. It could be a blockbuster, critic's choice, or cult classic. To join in on the conversation, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've reviewed, or want to share your own trip down memory lane, use the hashtag MattForgotThat on social. Before we start, the upcoming Highlander reboot starring Henry Cavill in the lead role of Connor MacLeod is generating significant buzz as it brings the cult classic franchise into a new era. Directed by Chad Stahelski, known for John Wick, this reimagining promises to bring fresh energy to the iconic story of immortals who battle through time for the ultimate prize. Stepping into the shoes of the iconic immortal hero, Cavill is a natural choice. Known for his roles as Superman and Geralt of Rivia in The Witcher, he's an experienced veteran of both epic fantasy and elaborate swordplay, making him well-suited to portray the Scottish swordsman. Russell Crowe as Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez is cast as MacLeod's immortal mentor, a role originated by Sean Connery. The Oscar-winning actor, with his intense screen presence and history of playing legendary warriors, Crowe's take on the wise, centuries-old warrior will likely be a highlight of the film. Karen Gillan has been cast as Heather, best known for playing Nebula in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Amy Pond in Doctor Who. The Scottish actress will take on the role of MacLeod's mortal wife. And Dave Bautista will be playing the role of Kurgan. The hulking star of Guardians of the Galaxy and Dune will play the film's main villain, a role made famous by Clancy Brown. Bautista's imposing physical presence and history of playing intimidating characters make him a formidable opponent for Cavill's hero. The film promises to be both a faithful tribute to the original, while also offering a fresh, modern take on the story. Chad Stahelski is known for his expertise in action choreography, having worked on John Wick and the Matrix series, and he's expected to bring a high level of physicality and intense combat sequences to the reboot. The new Highlander movie will likely expand the scope of the original film, exploring deeper lore about the immortals and their ancient history, while also modernizing the visual effects and action to appeal to contemporary audiences. The original Highlander movie, released in 1986, became a cult classic thanks to its blend of fantasy, action, and themes of immortality, destiny, and sacrifice. The film's memorable tagline, "There can be only one," has remained iconic in pop culture, and the original Highlander spawned multiple sequels, a TV series, and various spin-offs. I am a big fan of this franchise. I love the good, bad, and ugly of Highlander, and I'm always up for a new adventure with the MacLeods. Now, I have one request of the filmmakers. Queen is my favorite band, but they had their time in the sun. If you want to throw a Queen song in the soundtrack just as a nod of appreciation, that's fine. But we need some new sounds in this version. So if they don't go with a full orchestral score, and they want to go down the rock route, I'd rather have more modern bands. Or maybe sound-alikes of Queen, like The Darkness or Wigwam. This reboot is shaping up to be a thrilling, visually spectacular film, rich in fantasy and intrigue, as the battle continues for the prize. On to the main attraction. Each review will end with a ranking out of 5 stars. 1 star is skip it, 2 stars watch at your own risk, 3 stars standard fare, 4 stars worth checking out, and 5 stars must see. Now, if I give a title 5 stars, it doesn't mean I'm comparing it to Casablanca, Jaws, or Seinfeld. I rank titles based on other movies or TV series in that genre and at that time period. So let's jump into it. In this episode of the podcast, I'm rewatching and reviewing Revenge of the Nerds from 1984. It was directed by Jeff Canoe, who helmed thriller Eddie Macon's Run, crime comedy Tough Guys, and adventure Troop Beverly Hills. The screenplay was written by Steve Zacharias and Jeff Buhai, who scribed sports comedies Johnny B. Good and Eddie, and slapstick comedy In the Army Now. It was based on their story, co-written with Tim Metcalf and Miguel Tejada Flores. It stars Robert Carradine as Louis Skolnick. Born into a family of actors, his father, John Carradine, was a legendary figure in Hollywood, with brothers Christopher, Keith, and half-brothers Bruce and David following in his footsteps. Robert quickly carved out his own niche in the industry. He made his film debut in The Cowboys with John Wayne, and reprised his role in a short-lived series of the same name. He appeared in Mean Streets and gave a commanding performance in war drama Coming Home. But it was his portrayal of the socially awkward, underdog character in Revenge of the Nerds that truly cemented his place in pop culture. The film became a cult classic, and Carradine's portrayal of Louis resonated with audiences, establishing him as one of the quintessential nerd icons of the 80s. He would reprise his role in Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise, Revenge of the Nerds 3, The Next Generation, and Revenge of the Nerds 4, Nerds in Love. Anthony Edwards is an actor whose career has spanned television and film, with notable appearances that showcase his versatility and emotional depth. Best known for his role as Dr. Mark Green on the critically acclaimed medical drama ER, Edwards became a household name, winning multiple awards for his portrayal of a compassionate, often conflicted doctor. Before ER, Edwards had a successful career in film, where he initially gained recognition for his roles in several iconic 80s films. His portrayal of the eagerly awkward Gilbert Lowe in Revenge of the Nerds became a defining moment in his early career. He also starred in Top Gun as Nick Goose Bradshaw, the beloved sidekick to Tom Cruise's Maverick. Revenge of the Nerds also features James Cromwell, Timothy Busfield, Andrew Cassis, Curtis Armstrong, Larry B. Scott, Brian Tochi, and Ted McGinley. So let's jump into it. This is what I remember. The talent show, where we're treated to Devo-like outfits, an electric violin, and some breakdancing. And of course, the Greek Games, the climax of the film, pitting the nerds against the jocks in a series of athletic and academic competitions. Now I'm heading off to rewatch the movie. This is what I forgot. Revenge of the Nerds opens with a group of high school seniors, Louis Skolnick and Gilbert Lowe, heading to the fictional Adams College for their freshman year. They're socially awkward, academically inclined, and out of place in the world of jocks and popular students. Upon their arrival, the two nerds quickly realize that they are severely outnumbered and outclassed by the more dominant social groups, particularly the Alpha Betas, a fraternity led by the arrogant and bullying Stan Gable. Stan and his fraternity brothers take an immediate dislike to Louis and Gilbert, and things escalate when they are humiliated at the dorms, their room is trashed, and they're forced to find a new place to live. Desperate and frustrated, the duo seek out other socially marginalized students to form their own fraternity. This includes a diverse group of outcasts, the smart but socially inept Booger, the mild-mannered Takashi, and Poindexter. They choose the name Lambda Lambda Lambda, after a historically black fraternity, as a way to establish their own identity and challenge the school's oppressive social hierarchy. At the same time, Louis starts to develop a crush on Betty Childs, a popular cheerleader and member of the Alpha Betas, despite her association with Stan and the other jocks. This crush becomes a driving force in his personal journey, fueling his desire to prove himself against the dominant cliques on campus. While the nerds have officially formed their fraternity, they're still struggling to find their place in the world, where the odds seem stacked against them. Their formation of Lambda 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 is an act of defiance, and it sets the stage for the escalating rivalry with the Alpha Betas and the nerds' journey towards self-empowerment. Here's a quote without context. Would you rather live in the ascendancy of a civilization or during its decline? Revenge of the Nerds is a comedic cult classic film that explores themes of social hierarchy, identity, and rebellion through the lens of a campus rivalry between two contrasting groups. While it's often remembered for its slapstick humor and exaggerated stereotypes, the film also reflects deeper societal issues related to class, power dynamics, and personal transformation. The characters of Lewis, Gilbert, and their friends are often depicted as intellectual, sensitive, and socially awkward. On the other hand, the Alpha Betas, led by the smug Stan Gable, represent the typical college jocks. Arrogant, privileged, and often using their status to bully or humiliate others. They stand as the embodiment of the popular in crowd who hold all the power on campus. The narrative arc of Revenge of the Nerds revolves around the empowerment of the nerds as they form their own fraternity and challenge the established order. This can be seen as a form of rebellion against the unjust systems that prioritize certain traits while sidelining others. While Revenge of the Nerds is often celebrated for its underdog triumph narrative, it's also widely criticized for its portrayal of gender and sexual dynamics. The film features problematic elements, especially in its treatment of consent, romance, and sexuality. The 80s were marked by the rise of consumerism, individualism, and a growing fascination with technology. The film's nerds, with their intellectual prowess and ability to use computers, are reflections of this technological age, though it's through a comedic and exaggerated lens. Revenge of the Nerds is an enduring example of the 80s youth cinema that mixes humor with social commentary. The film both reflects and subverts the cultural attitudes of its time, becoming both a product of and a commentary on the era in which it was made. Now for a little trivial trivia. James Cromwell was the first actor to perform the infamous nerd laugh, which was written as a goose honk in the script. It was based on the laugh of his ex-wife. Revenge of the Nerds was produced by Interscope Communications and 20th Century Fox. It was filmed at the University of Arizona, Tucson. The cinematography was captured by King Baggett, whose filmography includes crime drama Some Kind of Hero, space adventure The Last Starfighter, and rom-com Dream a Little Dream. It was edited by Alan Balsam, who worked on satire To Be or Not to Be, teen drama Better Off Dead, and crime comedy Harlem Nights. The score was composed by Thomas Newman, who wrote the music for supernatural horror The Lost Boys, drama Scent of a Woman, psychological drama American Beauty, and animated adventure Finding Nemo. He's been nominated for 15 Academy Awards. The soundtrack featured songs by the Talking Heads, Ya, the Rubinos, and Queen. The runtime is 1 hour 30 minutes. It had a budget of $7 million and grossed $60 million at the box office. On the Ski Index, I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you've seen Revenge of the Nerds and have opinions on the movie, let me know what you think using the hashtag #MattForgotThat. Moving right along, each episode, I'm going to post throwback clips that I think people should watch. It could be movie trailers, music videos, interviews, or something completely random. Search for my YouTube page and there'll be a playlist called Matt Forgot That Playback. Jackson Browne, a pioneering figure in American rock and folk music, not only shaped the landscape of 1970s California rock, but also resonated across generations of listeners. Browne's breakthrough came in the early 70s, a period defined by a wave of introspective singer-songwriters emerging from California. Browne initially gained attention as a songwriter when artists like the Eagles and Linda Ronstadt recorded his songs. In 1972, he signed with Asylum Records, home to many of the era's most influential acts. His self-titled debut introduced the world to his introspective lyrical style, highlighted by tracks like Jamaica Say You Will and Doctor My Eyes. Browne's follow-up album, For Every Man, proved to be an even more polished reflection of his evolving sound. It featured some of his most poignant early works, like These Days, a haunting meditation on youth and loss, but it was Late for the Sky that cemented Browne's place as a master of the singer-songwriter genre. The album featured some of his finest work, including Fountain of Sorrow, and the title track, which was featured in Martin Scorsese's film Taxi Driver. The 1980s saw Browne evolve into a more politically conscious artist. Hold Out featured some of his most commercially successful tracks, including Boulevard and That Girl Could Sing. Somebody's Baby was written for the soundtrack of Fast Times at Ridgemont High and reached number 7 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. The album, Lives in the Balance, addressed issues like U.S. foreign policy, Latin American unrest, and human rights abuses. The single, For America, became an anthem for those questioning the direction of American politics. Maybe we should have a listen to this album now. Am I allowed to say that? Alphonse, look into that for me. The 90s marked a period of emotional introspection and lyrical simplicity. The title track from I'm Alive reflected Brown's own resurgence in creativity after dealing with personal loss and an uncertain musical landscape. Brown's softer, more reflective songwriting explored themes of personal growth and life after tragedy. The turn of the millennium brought Brown full circle, blending his music with his enduring social activism. In 2002, Brown released The Naked Ride Home, a return to the poetic, stripped-down style of his earlier works. The title track remains a testament to his ability to capture complex emotional landscapes with simplicity and grace. Jackson Browne's career spanned 5 decades, but his influence on music, culture, and politics remains as potent as ever. With his distinct, heartfelt songwriting, Brown has woven themes of love, loss, hope, and social responsibility into the fabric of his music. I've selected a couple of clips of his biggest hits. They're all available in the Matt Forgot That Playback playlist on YouTube. Check it out. Now it's time for the recommendation. Yes, that's the word recommendation with Matt in the middle. I'm going to end each podcast with my own recommendation of a movie or TV series. Today I'm talking about Freaks and Geeks. The cult classic TV series, created by Paul Feig and produced by Judd Apatow, set in the early 80s, was a coming-of-age drama that explores the lives of high school students as they navigate complex social dynamics of adolescence, dealing with issues of identity, friendship, family, and fitting in. The series is split between 2 main groups at McKinley High School, the Freaks and the Geeks. The Freaks are a group of rebellious, nonconformist teens led by Daniel Desario, who are more interested in skipping class, partying, and living on the edge than worrying about their future. The Geeks are a group of nerdy, awkward, and socially outcast students, including Sam Weir, his friends Neil and Bill, who are often the targets of bullying but bond over their shared love of science fiction, comic books, and their dream of fitting in. At the heart of the series is Lindsay Weir, a once popular mathlete who, after the death of her grandmother, begins to question her identity and reevaluate her life. Lindsay gravitates toward the Freaks, especially the charming and troubled Daniel, while her younger brother Sam deals with the everyday struggle of high school and navigating his place as a geek. It stars Linda Cardellini, John Francis Daly, James Franco, Sam Levine, Seth Rogen, Jason Segel, and Busy Phillips. Freaks and Geeks masterfully balances humor and drama, using its period set to reflect on the universal experiences of growing up, social pressures, and the challenges of being true to oneself. The show addresses topics like family dynamics, romantic relationships, the pain of being an outsider, and the search for personal meaning during the turbulent high school years. Despite critical acclaim for its writing, performances, and realistic portrayal of adolescence, Freaks and Geeks struggled with low ratings and was unfortunately canceled after just 1 season. However, the series has become a beloved gem, praised for its sharp dialogue, endearing characters, and its exploration of the complexity of the teenage life. Freaks and Geeks was on for 1 season, 18 episodes from 1999 to 2000. That's all for this edition of Matt Forgot That. Thanks for listening to me reminisce. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've reviewed, or want to share your own trip down memory lane, use the hashtag MattForgotThat on social. Head over to mattseroski.com for all the latest news and updates, and come back next time for the rewatch and review. Became a cult classic thanks to its blend of fantasy, action, and themes of immortality. Not even gonna comment. In 2222. I forgot how numbers work.